to another episode of Simply Budget, Save, and Invest. This will just be a portfolio update for the week ending January 23rd, 2026. As always, I'll be going into my current positions that expired or options that expired this past Friday, and go into some upcoming positions I'm going to open for this next week and for the weeks following. But this week was short because of the holiday, and there was a bit of volatility we experienced with what people coin the taco trade, otherwise known as Trump always chickens out. Again, this is in regards to the Greenland deal and him taking away the threat of tariffs on NATO. So we saw some market volatility from that, and I was able to take advantage of it a little bit, but in terms of selling covered calls on the spike and selling cash secured puts on the dips. So we can see right now in my individual brokerage account, I have two open positions, one of which being Amazon. That's going to be a covered call expiring next Friday, 1:30. And then I have a cash secured put in ETH. That's the Ethereum ETF for $22, expiring 2/6. That's one of the positions. I kind of took advantage of the dip in Ethereum and wanted to sell a cash secured put. That's going to be one of my long-term holds. So I also have 100 shares that I'll be holding. And as you can see in Amazon, I also have 100 shares in that position. I actually have a pretty high cost basis. I think it is actually around like $238. So I do want to just get out of those shares and hopefully get a chance to buy shares lower than 230, hopefully 225. But either way, once I get out of these shares, I am going to try to continue to sell cash secured puts at a lower cost basis or lower strike than my most recent cost basis at that 238. So I'm not upset if I get called out of those shares. Like Amazon is going to be a stock I continuously wheel for as long as I can. So I'll be in and out of that position pretty frequently. But also earnings is coming up as well. So I wanted to sell a covered call before earnings. Again, there's going to be high market volatility with earnings, of course, expected implied volatility. So we'll see that, I'm sure, come Amazon earnings. And I believe I have that pulled up here on February 5th. So again, that covered call expires right before then. So for next week, let's go actually over my retirement account. This one's just going to be the rollover. Here I also do the wheel strategy as well. As you can see, I got assigned on a few shares of Robinhood this week. I had a $115 cash secured put on Robinhood that expired on Friday, 123. So I got assigned on those shares. So I currently hold 200 shares of Robinhood, 100 of which I have a slightly higher cost basis at like $118, and then it's got assigned at about like $113. But Robinhood is also one I'm going to continuously wheel for as long as I can. I also have there have been price targets of like $150 to $160 by the end of 2026. So I'm happy to hold those until around that price target, or again, just wheel otherwise. Pretty good premiums on Robinhood contracts, so it's one worth holding as well. And it's one of my high conviction plays. So that one, I do have a covered call that expired this past Friday as well. I'm going to hold off and see if I can get a little bit higher premiums on covered calls I'm going to sell for the 200 shares. So I imagine probably wait until a few days of next week, and I'll try to post a video once I place that trade as well. You can also see at the top there, I have the Netflix cash secured put, $86. Netflix had their earnings last week. They actually did perform pretty well. That was an earnings beat, but their stock price didn't respond accordingly. I think it dropped around like 4 or 5% after hours. Was as low as like $81, $82 at the beginning of the week, but now it's back up to around like $85 a share. So I'm hoping by the time this expiration date hits on Friday, it expires worthless, meaning Netflix closes above $86 come expiration on Friday. But if not, I won't be upset if I do get assigned on those shares. I actually had a Netflix cash secured put that expired this past Friday at $84 strike, and that was when I sold before earnings. So it did dip below that $84 price for a bit, but it closed above, I think, like $85. So I didn't end up getting assigned on that. And lastly, we have BMNR, another Ethereum play. They're kind of like a micro strategy equivalent for Ethereum, but this is going to be more of a volatile and definitely more risky. I did get assigned a while ago on those shares for the price you can see, price paid of $34 and around 10 cents. So there, I'm just going to keep selling covered calls. But that one should move pretty well with Ethereum as well. So not too worried about that because, again, Ethereum is one of my long-term holds anyways. So pretty high conviction there as well. But again, for this week, I did want to go over my total premiums collected, which is around $571.34 for the week ending last Friday, 1/23. So we can see here in the individual account, as I mentioned, I had a Netflix cash secured put that expired at the $84 strike. So I collected $150 on premium there, really $149.96 after the fees taken out from Robinhood. Also had an SMR cash secured put at the $19 strike, collected $95 there. That expired worthless as well. SMR closed above $19. And then I had an SMCI covered call. So SMCI, I actually have 100 shares I'm holding at the price of around $28. So I'm going to continuously sell covered calls on that. And actually going to make a bit of a capital gain on the underlying shares as well, with the currently trading around like $32 and my cost basis being around 28. So I'll continuously sell covered calls on that, and I kind of want to get out of that position. So I'm going to sell pretty risky covered calls, super close at the money, and just collect those higher premiums too. So there you can see I collected $33 in premium at the $35 strike. Next week I'll probably sell at like the $31 strike. Again, my cost basis being $28, so I'll make that $300-ish gain plus whatever I make from the premium. So I'll try to post a video of that as well. And then we can see in the traditional account, last week, as I mentioned, I had a cash secured put that got assigned. This is at $115 strike. I collected $275 in premium, but again, I got assigned. So I did have to buy those shares, and my cost basis is around, actually I can do the math. Let's see, $2.75. So around $11.25. I might have did that math wrong, but it's $2. It's $115 minus $275. $2.75 per share as my cost basis on those shares I got assigned on. Again, I'm just going to sell. I'm going to hold off to sell a covered call at that $115 strike until maybe probably mid next week to see how Robinhood's price reacts. But again, also Robinhood has their earnings coming up, so I'm going to try to avoid selling a covered call the week of February 10th, because again, that's when we have a lot of our high implied market volatility with the price movement anticipated for earnings. And I can see here I also had a covered call for the 100 shares I already owned of Robinhood. That one I just collected $12 there. Not much. Also on the BMNR covered call, collected $8 there. Both of those expired worthless as BMNR closed below $35 strike, and of course Robinhood closed below that 120. So next week again, I'll be able to go into more depth once I place those trades on the new positions I open on covered calls and cash secured puts. But as it stands right now, I have, of course, positions in shares, but these two here are going to clear from my account as they just expired worthless. The only open option position I'll have in my traditional account going to next week so far will be the Netflix cash secured put at $86. And I also have Ethereum or ETH cash secured put for $22, expiring 2/6, and then an Amazon covered call, a $204 strike, expiring 1/30. So I'll be good about posting videos of me placing these trades, but I always just want to again reiterate that in the wheel strategy, it's basically just continuously selling covered calls and cash secured puts and just doing the opposite once you're assigned. So again, I got assigned on some Amazon shares after selling a cash secured put that expired in the money, so I got assigned on shares, and now I'm just selling cash secured puts, or rather covered calls on the shares I own. But just a quick portfolio update. Again, earned $571.34 ish this last week, and just options premium, and hopefully keep that train going into earnings season here. With we have coming up with a lot of the Mag 7 stocks. So expect a lot of market volatility with the Mag 7. Again, obviously having an impact on the overall market, and especially when it comes to sentiment. But again, guys, thank you for tuning in. Please like, comment, subscribe. Of course, please provide some suggestions for these videos moving forward. And of course, if I need to explain some things better, I'm happy to do so. But as always, thank you guys, and of course, enjoy your day.